if I had to roll myself to your motherfucking house in a wheelchair, if I lose my kidney, I'm gonna roll myself to your house, knock on your door, and I'm gonna you goddamn in your fucking face. Yeah, for real, man. I don't give
The person you see on this video is 40-year-old William Lewis Almond, making sickening threats. Just a few weeks earlier, his devoted wife had filed for a restraining order, and he couldn't deal with it. So, he took to social media. What no one would have expected was on June 14th, 2024, William would carry out his threat just a few minutes later. At around 2:48 p.m., police would respond to a 911 call about multiple gunshots heard at the Forest at Columbia apartments on Columbia Drive in DeKalb County. When officers arrived, they discovered a heart-breaking scene. A young woman had been shot multiple times, but what they didn't expect to find was the lifeless body of somebody else. This is the life and death of Tomika Pullins.
Amazon Prime made a bitch come faster than Amazon Prime, yeah.
Tragically, her story mirrors another story that we have already covered on this channel. Do you remember Jennifer Bellany, the Florida mother who filed a restraining order against her abusive ex-husband, only for him to return days later and murder her and their 11-year-old daughter in cold blood?
You're a coward, and God will deal with you. My God will deal with you.
Our crew on scene Wednesday as a woman runs screaming after the shooting.
Seen a bunch of people crying. Something I didn't want to see. I don't really want to say it, but I seen a body land on the ground. I didn't want to see that also.
If you haven't seen that case, I'll leave the link at the end of this video. It's a hauntingly similar story. Tomika Pullins was born in 1994 and raised in Stone Mountain, Georgia. A proud graduate of Stone Mountain High School, she built a life rooted in love, responsibility, and resilience. At 29, she worked as a security guard.
I worked for Norad and Associates.
An honest, demanding job she embraced because it gave her the means to provide for her and support her immediate family. She was known to pick up extra shifts without complaint, often putting others' needs ahead of her own. To those who knew her best, Tomika was a light in dark times. She had a quick wit, a warm laugh, and a calm presence that made people feel safe. Her siblings called her the peacemaker of the family, the one who could always smooth over disagreements and bring everyone together again. Friends remember her as fiercely loyal and grounded, someone who stood by you when it mattered most. And tragically, that unwavering loyalty would be the very thing that cost her everything. Tomika believed in structure. She lived quietly and worked hard. Tomika wanted stability, peace, and a future her children could thrive in. And in everything she did, love was at the center. Tomika met and eventually married 48-year-old William Lewis Almond. At first, their relationship felt like a hopeful new chapter, one filled with promises of stability, trust, and companionship. William was several years older and spoke as someone who had experienced life's challenges and wanted to build something lasting. Tomika, who was fiercely dedicated to her family and driven by the desire to give them a safe, supportive environment, truly believed she had found a partner who would help her do that. He was affectionate in public, always saying the right things and making Tomika feel cared for. They spent time together, attended family gatherings, and even went on small trips, making memories that Tomika hoped would last a lifetime. Encouraged by his words and the image of a strong partner at her side, she put her trust in him, hoping that together they could build a secure and loving home for the future she envisioned. But behind closed doors, cracks began to show. The age difference quickly became less about maturity and more about control. Those closest to Tomika would later say that she didn't always seem like herself anymore. Her vibrant energy had dimmed, but despite this, the couple would share pictures and videos of them together.
Well, who's say? I was talking about the judge. The judge told me they just got a high price ass whooping because I whooped her with a Gucci belt. Yeah, it's real Gucci. Stamped in the back from Italy. He didn't need to be there and eat knockout. See, you know, I got a nice taste, but I'm a broke nigga with a high price taste bud though. You feel me? Yeah, for real. I got your bitch with me, nigga. I got your bitch. I got your bitch with me, nigga. I got your bitch. And she loving this thug and shit. Hey. Put your tongue in your mouth.
In the clip, Williams can be heard saying he's a broke guy, but with a high taste. On the surface, it sounded like a lighthearted remark, but to those closest to Tamika, the statement felt like more than just a joke. It revealed something deeper. William often tried to present himself as a man of status and success, even when his financial reality didn't align. He flaunted expensive preferences and wanted to be perceived as someone in control. Still, she tried to make the marriage work. Tamika was not one to give up easily, especially when her family's future was on the line. She kept hoping that things would get better, that William would become the partner she believed he could be. But the truth was, Tamika was navigating something far more difficult than anyone realized. And soon, it would take a darker turn.
Then I got my little cousin, big brother over him too, boy. That boy smooth, cool, boy. Come on, boy. You know the show.
By early 2025, Tamika had reached a breaking point. Years of emotional strain, control, and growing fear had taken their toll. Those close to her say she no longer smiled the way she used to, and the once vibrant woman who lit up family gatherings had begun to withdraw. It became clear that Tamika no longer felt safe, so she made a decision that many victims of domestic abuse struggle to make. She filed for a restraining order against William. She wanted out, not just for herself, but for the sake of the loved ones she cared for and supported daily. It was the first real step toward freedom, but tragically, it may have also marked the beginning of her final chapter. William didn't take the separation well. In fact, he resented it. Friends and family say he struggled to accept that Tamika had left him, let alone that she had taken legal steps to keep him away. For a man used to being in control, the restraining order was a blow to his ego. He didn't like the idea of being shut out of her life, and according to those close to the situation, he became increasingly agitated. After the separation, William's anger began to spill into the public. He took to social media, posting videos where he spoke bitterly about Tamika and her family.
Y'all took this shit to another level. Y'all took this shit to another level. I'm talking about, it's the same thing. I call and check on your brother. He cussed me out and accused me of some bullshit. Call and check on you. You come at me the same way. I mean, first of all, when your dad was whooping me, your mama ass, boy, it wasn't just your mama. It was me and you. Why the you think they call me Wild Bill? Boy, I'm still trying to get over. I'm still trying to figure out what the I did to you or your brother.
In the clips, he portrayed himself as the victim, claiming he had been mistreated, misunderstood, and pushed aside. He talked about how Tamika had changed and accused her loved ones of turning her against him.
I'm trying to get over how you just talked to me through a message, though. That's how you and your brother be doing. Now, I mean, I ain't never did nothing to one of y'all. I always been there for you. You know, I ain't asked you for nothing. You know what I'm saying? None of that. You know, I just reached out to you and everything, little girl. You know what I mean? But for the most talking that crazy like your brother called me a shit. Come on, man. Y'all ain't gonna get in my face and say that shit, boy.
What he said next was even more disturbing.
Boy, I don't care no more. Boy, it's gonna be your last time ever disrespecting somebody. You and your ass brother, boy. And calling me and my family out that name. Come on, man. Come on, man. Slaughter gang. I'm gonna fuck one of y'all. Boy, swear to God, I ain't gonna do no more talking. When I see you, it's on sight. This is my last one. Let me tell you something, little girl. Boy, I've been a grown man. But I will fuck you, your brother, and your boyfriend the fuck up, man. Just give me the address, man. I swear to God, I'm gonna show y'all some. I swear to God, on that thing around God's head, boy. I'm talking about, I don't give a fuck, boy. Boy, you gonna sit there and talk to me any kind of way? Y'all pop that shit. Y'all disrespect me. Don't beg for yourself when a nigga pop up in your face, cause I have no understanding no more. Y'all took this shit to another level.
Williams's behavior escalated in terrifying ways. He allegedly made direct threats to Tamika's family, stating he would come to their home and shoot it up, regardless of who was inside. In a chilling and deeply disturbing twist, he didn't stop there. He also allegedly warned that even children wouldn't be spared if they were present. He didn't stop there. Williams, who looked like he might be in a hospital room, continued his threat.
You know, if I had to roll myself to your motherfucking house in a wheelchair, if I lose my kidney, I'ma roll myself to your house, knock on your door, and I'ma put you goddamn in your fucking face. Yeah, for real, man. I don't give a
If only Tamika got a glimpse into the horror that was about to happen. Tamika continued working hard to rebuild her life and take steps toward a new beginning after separating from her estranged husband, William Almond. Determined to put the past behind her, she moved into the Forest at Columbia Apartments on Columbia Drive in DeKalb County, a place that offered a fresh start and the promise of safety for her and her family. Living with her was her 7-year-old niece, Dior Scott, a bright, imaginative little girl who loved drawing, singing along to her favorite cartoons, and sharing every moment of her day with her aunt. The two had an incredibly close bond. Dior looked up to Tamika as a role model and felt safe in her care, and Tamika cherished every second they spent together. Tamika was focused on creating a stable, loving home, surrounded by close friends and family who supported her decision, but tragedy would strike when no one expected.
talk to a grown ass man any kind of way. All you gotta do is just send me their goddamn address. I'm gonna pull up and beat y'all the fuck up. I swear to God. Niece, nephew, I don't give a fuck.
On June 14, 2024, at around 2:48 p.m., DeKalb County Police responded to reports of gunfire at an apartment complex in Stone Mountain. What they discovered was beyond devastating, a scene no family should ever have to face.
A massive police presence at an apartment complex in Decatur. These are live images from the First Alert Chopper. Let's give you an idea of where this is. The 2500 block of Columbia Drive in DeKalb County in Decatur. This is at the Forest at Columbia Apartments, and we've noticed at least more than a dozen police officers there, K-9 unit as well, kind of surrounding and taping off one particular apartment. We could see a vehicle on the curb there, which is not where it should normally be. It should be in the parking lot there, but it's partially on the curb. So right now, officers investigating, still unclear what's happening right here. We do have our resources in the Atlanta News First newsroom working to find out what's going on.
Officers arrived quickly to find 29-year-old Tamika and her 7-year-old niece, Dior, with severe gunshot wounds. Despite urgent life-saving efforts, both victims were pronounced dead at the scene.
It's now in a double murder that has shaken a DeKalb County neighborhood. Relatives of the victim say the man who his estranged wife and 7-year-old niece threatened to kill the whole family.
The violence had unfolded in broad daylight in what should have been the safety of their own home. What went so terribly wrong? Who would have wanted them both dead? Police launched their investigation immediately, and they didn't have to look far to uncover the horrifying truth. Witnesses recounted seeing a man approach the apartment that afternoon. When he was denied entry, things escalated quickly. He shattered a window and without hesitation began firing into the home. That man was identified as 48-year-old William Lewis Almond, Tamika's estranged husband and, disturbingly, Dior's uncle by marriage. Investigators soon confirmed what many feared. After William had posted threatening videos online, he followed through.
If I lose my kidney, I'ma roll myself to your house, knock on your door, and I'ma put you goddamn in your fucking face.
He had shown up to Tamika's place of residence and had attempted to force his way into the apartment, and after being refused, he began firing multiple shots through a broken window, fatally striking both victims. When the damage was done, William fled the scene, triggering a massive manhunt that spread across DeKalb County and beyond.
Manhunt is still underway here across DeKalb County, likely venturing outside of county lines. They are actively looking for the man who opened fire in this apartment right behind.
So as police flooded the streets and neighbors stood frozen in fear, investigators worked with urgency. At least 24 law enforcement vehicles swarmed the area. Officers went door to door, canvassing for witnesses, surveillance footage, and any clue that could lead to his capture. William Lewis Almond was considered armed and dangerous, and the threat he posed to the community was taken seriously. Hours ticked by, tension mounting, until finally.
Police have now captured the man accused of killing a woman and a young child today in DeKalb County.
It happened on Columbia Drive, and police say he was no stranger to the victims.
By the end of the day, authorities were able to track him down. William was located and arrested without incident. Meanwhile, the community struggled to come to terms with the brutal nature of the crime. Investigators confirmed that others were inside the apartment at the time of the shooting, but were not harmed. Still, the emotional damage was immeasurable. Officer Elise Wells of the DeKalb Police Department addressed the public, calling the attack completely senseless and stressing that it was not a random act.
Absolutely. This is something that is completely senseless. Not only do we have 2 lives tragically lost, but one of them a child who's just getting started.
However, what makes this even more devastating is what came before. Tamika had been reaching out for help. Her mother, Nakita Bruce, revealed a heartbreaking truth.
Told us many times, if my child don't come back to him, he will pop every kid in here. He don't care who it is, even he will kill everyone in this house.
The family had been doing everything they could to protect her. Nakita explained that they were actively trying to serve William Almond with legal papers, but despite their efforts, authorities had been unable to locate him. All the while, William Almond continued making disturbing threats, growing bolder with each passing day. Voicemails, social media posts, even direct warnings to family members. It was all there, but no action came fast enough. Now, Nakita and her family are left wondering how many red flags it takes before someone steps in. According to Nakita, Almond had warned them more than once. On multiple occasions, he allegedly told them he would come for the family, making his threats loud and clear. Nakita also shared that other people were inside the apartment at the time of the shooting, and some sustained minor injuries during the attack. She said if William had made it inside, she would have lost even more family. The locked door kept him outside, the only thing that saved the rest of them. Now, DeKalb County officials have vowed to pursue justice to the fullest extent of the law. County CEO Lorraine Cochran Johnson released a heartfelt message expressing her deep sorrow. No family should ever have to endure such an unthinkable tragedy, she said. As a mother and as your CEO, I grieve alongside our community. My heart goes out to the entire family, and we stand ready to support them every step of the way. Officer Wells noted that violent crimes involving children take an especially devastating emotional toll, not only on the victims' loved ones, but on the first responders who answer these heartbreaking calls. This is something none of us will ever forget, Wells said. The community's response has been one of deep sorrow, righteous anger, and powerful unity. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers gathered at the Forest at Columbia apartments to pay their respects. They brought flowers, candles, handwritten notes, and balloons, each tribute a symbol of a life taken too soon. That evening, a candlelight vigil was held in memory of Tamika and her 7-year-old niece, Dior. Loved ones shared heartfelt stories. They spoke of Tamika's warmth, her bright smile, and how fiercely she loved children. They described a woman who gave her all to her family, a nurturing spirit who deserved a long, peaceful future. And then there was Dior, only 7 years old with so much life left to live. Those who knew her spoke of a joyful, energetic little girl with a big imagination and an even bigger heart. Dior was innocent in every sense of the word, caught up in a nightmare she never deserved. A GoFundMe campaign has been created in honor of 7-year-old Dior Scott to help support her funeral expenses and provide assistance to her grieving family. The fundraiser aims to ease some of the financial burden during this unimaginable time and ensure that Dior is laid to rest with the dignity and care she deserves. Her family is deeply touched by the outpouring of love and generosity, and they appreciate every donation, message, and prayer as they navigate this heartbreaking loss. While William Almond remains in police custody and the investigation continues, troubling questions still hang in the air. Why wasn't he stopped before things escalated to this point? Were there warning signs that went ignored? Could protective measures have been taken sooner to prevent this tragedy? These questions don't just haunt Tamika's family, they haunt an entire community. What protections failed them? What more could have been done? And perhaps most urgently, How do we make sure that other victims of domestic violence are truly heard before it's too late? More than legal questions, these are moral ones. They force society to take a hard look at itself and ask whether we as neighbors, law enforcement, and as a community are doing enough to protect those most at risk. So, what can we do? First, we must listen. When someone says they're scared, we have to believe them. Every call for help deserves to be taken seriously. Second, we must support local organizations and shelters that offer safety, counseling, and escape routes for those trapped in dangerous situations. Giving these programs the resources they need can make the difference between life and death. And finally, we must demand stronger laws and faster action when someone has a known history of threats or violence. Whether it's by pushing for better training for law enforcement, creating stricter protections for victims, or holding those in power accountable, change can only come if we speak up. Behind every headline is a devastated family. Every lost mother, every child left without a parent reminds us of the human cost. And every time we raise our voices as a community and as individuals, we move one step closer to preventing the next tragedy. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Here are a few more videos you might like.